Hi, here's May, and today I'll draw some of your OCs. I asked a while back to submit your designs on my YouTube community tab. That's how I got the designs. And now let's start with the first one. I'll start with some info on the character based on the information the artist sent me. The first character is Camellia Okundai, a character from a webcomic the artist who submitted this is working on. She's a hopeless romantic. Shoujo anime is one of her favorite things and she wants it in her own life. Camellia goes to a boarding school and struggles with making friends. She can also be fooled easily, despite that she has an upbeat and positive attitude. When drawing, I started with a thumbnail of the pose. I wanted her to have an elegant one to make it fit with her interest in shoujo anime. For the face, I draw her eyebrows rather high up, rounded and raised to make her expression look more friendly and open. Then I was unsure about the mouth. First I wanted it to be closed, but I went with an open mouth in the end, which fit more to her optimistic personality to me. Next I moved on to the hair. Drawing in the long hair strands in front was very enjoyable. I experimented more with the long ponytails in the back. I wanted the hair to have some nice and soft waves, so it would be flowy. Then I sketched in the body. The arm in front was a bit difficult to draw, especially figuring out the elbows for poses like these can be challenging to me. At first the neck was too long, so I moved the head and hair to make it fit more onto the body. After the body I added the outfit. In the character sheet were 3 outfits to choose from. I sketched in the school uniform as well as the outfit at the bottom right from these. Next I added the hand with an elegant pose. After that I did the line art. I really like the creative elements like the border, text, bow and flowers that are added to the character sheet. It's a nice way to show a bit more what the character is like. There also are some songs that probably fit to the character, or they would just be music she listens to. Adding this is a nice idea as well to get more of an idea of the general vibe of the character. I decided to go with the outfit at the bottom right, then I moved on to shading and I started with the face. I added a blush here, which I don't normally do, and shading the hair was a lot of fun. I added a lot of hue variation here, including pink and orange. Then I also added shading to the outfit. Finally, I softened the line art color by blurring copies of the colors and overlaying them on the line art. Now let's move on to the second character, which would be Rook. He's a Harry Potter OC and part of the Slytherin house. Wintermere, his artist wrote he's a direct descendant of Salazar Slytherin, which is why he is a pure blood, meaning both his parents are wizards. He's also able to speak Parseltongue. It's pretty much the snake language in Harry Potter, fitting to Slytherin's house animal being a snake. Quidditch is a sports discipline in Harry Potter where you are on a broom and try to score points, while the seekers on the team have to catch a small flying ball called the snitch. Once a team gets it, they receive a big amount of points and the game ends. Rook here is a seeker on Slytherin's Quidditch team. Other than this, he is good at dueling and his academic studies. He prefers using his wand over physical fighting because of his lanky, tall frame. He is physically weak and malnourished, and Wintermere mentioned he has a rather traumatic backstory with his parents being bad to him, leading to him being insecure and hurting. Rook's white hair color is caused by a genetic mutation, and he has various scars on his body. He doesn't smile often, and Wintermere described his gaze as one that stares into your soul. What I also found interesting is that Rook keeps his hair more swept back during the first 4 years of his stay at Hogwarts, and he lets it grow out and be a bit more messy afterwards. That's it for some information on him. When drawing Rook, I went for a pose where he would have one arm in front of his chest, the other one would be pulled up to the head. The head angle would be to the front as well. For his expression, I wanted to go for a colder, rather neutral one. I tried a version with his mouth open or his mouth closed. I also added some wrinkles around his eyes, which can convey that he is more of a tired, serious, or older person. I drew in his hair and afterwards his body. Since in the description it was mentioned he forgets to eat often, I wanted to go for thin proportions here. I also paid attention to portraying the hand, knuckles or bones to convey this as well. After looking up some references of the Slytherin dorm uniform, I also added in his outfit alongside this. Next I moved on to line art. I went over the sketch. I also changed up the hair before this, adding some hair behind the ears. Drawing in the Slytherin dorm logo took some time here, but it was a nice challenge. I filled in the colors, then I went on with shading. I also included a bit more detailed face shading to portray a more clear jaw, since he is rather thin. I shaded the black robe and added the black sparkles in the end. Like this, the second character illustration is done. Moving on to the third character. The next OC I'm drawing is a occultist who comes from a rich aristocratic family. Sausage Woda, her artist, mentioned she ended up summoning a demon in hopes of bringing back her deceased mother. The horns and skulls on this OC's design are mementos from the corruption of her soul caused by frequent dealings with the occult. Here I went with a bent over pose and arms crossed in the front to kind of convey a more creepy, unsettling look. When sketching the eyes, I also made sure to not include an iris for one of them. This is the first character I have drawn who doesn't have a second iris, and seeing how this turned out was nice. I also made sure to make the eyes downturned. When sketching the hair, I wanted to make this look a bit messy. Adding the braids was nice as well. For drawing in the pose, I started with the full torso, even if it would be partly covered up by the arms. I drew those in next and added the hands. Then I drew in the outfit. I liked adding the frilly parts a lot. Drawing the animal skull was interesting. I looked up more references for this, since I haven't drawn skulls like these before. I've only drawn some human skulls. Before I moved on to the line art, I blocked in the anatomy. When drawing the line art, I tried to focus on what would be visible in the final illustration, while for the sketch I often draw in the full body and outfit parts, even if they are overlapping. This enables me to make sure the proportions work in the illustration while spending less time on the line art. The sketch is more for determining the placements of the parts, while the line art is about refining those parts, deciding how I would portray them using varying line thickness. After the lines, I moved on to filling in the colors, and then it was time for shading. I started with the skin, adding a triangular light below the darker eye to put some depth and emphasis on the face. I also added a saturated border to this light shape. When shading the hair, I added some pretty bright light from the top to add some dramatic contrast. I also saw this was added in the original artwork and found this fit to the character nicely, so I applied this as well. Then I shaded the outfit, adding mostly soft rounded big folds. After also shading the hands, I blurred some lines, and like this, the illustration was done. Moving on to the fourth character, who would be Luther, a Genshin Impact OC. He lives in Fontaine, the region based on the hydro element with a theme of justice. Even though Luther is young and has a rather small stature, he has proven himself to be a talented prodigy in the pancration fighting circles of Fontaine. He is a Natlan orphan who has been taken in by a Fontainian. While some people despise him because of his origin, many people also have a good opinion of him because he is helpful, leading them through their issues. Luther always tries to see the best in people. He's very forgiving, which can also be a weakness for him. Now onto my drawing of him. With the pose, I went with one arm being stretched out to show his more outgoing, friendly personality. I drew in the hair and then his body to show that he's a more athletic person. I, for example, included more defined ab lines here as well. After this, I sketched in the outfit that included lilies as patterns. For drawing symmetrical patterns like this, I like to draw one part from one side and then that one part on the other side. This helps with only focusing on one part and drawing that part in the same shape on the other side directly afterwards, just paying attention to the different perspective. I tried out a few hand poses, and after the line art, I filled in the colors. For shading, I added more detailed anatomy shading for the abs. Since the clothes were rather tight, I could just apply a similar shading as for the anatomy for the chest. I like drawing Genshin related designs a lot, and this OC reminds me a bit of my OC Koru, the sun guardian of his world, who I also drew as Genshin Impact character a while ago. I find the Fontaine aesthetic for this design interesting. It would definitely be a unique design for a Genshin character. And with that, we've gone through all characters for today. Thank you to everyone who submitted something, and thank you for watching this video. I hope it was as enjoyable as drawing these characters was to me. Have a nice day and bye.